New Thought Media Network and the Universal Joy Center are proud to bring you The Joy Show. One voice, one story, infinite inspiration. Join your host, Barbara Jean, every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Time or 1 p.m. Mountain Time. Tune in live or watch anytime on youtube.com/@UJOYC. The Joy Show with Barbara Jean. The perfect way to get inspired on Friday afternoons. Only on New Thought Media Network. And please like, share, and subscribe. And now, let's join Barbara Jean on The Joy Show.
Well, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to The Joy Show, where every voice matters, every story has meaning, and inspiration is everywhere. So here we celebrate the truth that joy means just one you. No one else in the world sees everything through your eyes. No one else carries your exact blend of gifts, experiences, wisdom, and wonder, curiosity. And when you begin to recognize this, life starts to open up in powerful ways. So each week, we explore what it means to live as your most authentic, aligned self. Yeah, easy, right? Because you're not here to copy someone else's path. You're here to live yours with courage, clarity, and joy. So I'm Barbara Jean. I'm so glad you're here. And I'd like to begin with our land acknowledgement. We are honored to be meeting on this land that many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people from across Turtle Island call home. We acknowledge and thank the original caretakers and knowledge keepers of this territory, and we give thanks to all Indigenous peoples, recorded and unrecorded, who have shared responsibility for this land. We accept responsibility to peaceably share and care for the resources that surround us. We also acknowledge, as inhabitants of these lands, that inequity and discrimination continue to affect our human family. We therefore strive to be allies and take an active part in reconciliation. Recognizing our ultimate oneness and acknowledging our reality, past and present, we commit to moving forward in a spirit of mutual cooperation. We are one. Miigwech. Well, our topic today is the art of becoming. Becoming what, you might say? When we're on this journey, sometimes through conditioning and everything that's happened in our lives, we might have forgotten who we really are and what we're here to do, what it is that we bring. And so the art of becoming is about really finding your authentic, natural voice and standing up for what you truly believe to be true for you, for your life, and for your world. Remembering that each one of us is unique and special, just like everybody else. So I wanted to share a moment from my own life when I found that connection and then began to, do my best to keep it alive. It's tough sometimes. When I was 27 years old, I was invited to church by my mother-in-law, and I went. I was not raised in church. I didn't have much use for it, but I went. I kind of wanted her to like me. I thought if I endure this 1 hour of church, maybe she will. But something wonderful happened. The universe is always conspiring to take us where we need to go in order to discover who we truly are and what it is we really bring. Sorry, I just want to make sure the ringer is off on my phone. So I went to this service, and when I went in, I was absolutely in the dark. I didn't know anything about anything. I was miserable and unhappy. I was filled with anxiety and dread. Life really didn't work well for me. So I go in, I'm in complete darkness, and somehow, some way, I don't know what happened, but by the end of that service, 1 hour later, I was living in the light. It was this experience of knowing the presence and power of God or the one, spirit, whatever you're comfortable calling it, knowing it as love, not as something to fear, not as something that is judging or criticizing me. I knew it as love, full stop. It was pretty powerful. And from there, a number of things happened. 1 week later, I quit smoking. Now, at the time, I was smoking 4 packages of cigarettes a day. Heavy smoker. Back in the days when you could smoke, in most places, you could smoke in restaurants, you could smoke at the office, all of that. So we are going back quite a while. And I realized about 6 days in that if I continued, the awareness was this: if I continue to smoke, I will be dragging an oxygen tank by the age of 40. And I thought, wow, that's probably not the choice I would like. What I thought next was, this is a temple of the divine, and I do not have the right to destroy it, to kill it. So the next day, I mentioned to my husband at the time, I said, I'm quitting smoking. And he quickly ran out and bought me cigarettes because I had tried to quit a couple of weeks earlier and I just became the most awful person ever. So he bought me cigarettes. And when he brought them back, it's like, I can't return them. So I guess I'm going to smoke them. But what I said to him was, do not buy me anymore. This is it. So I smoked that pack. The next morning, I'm at work. I'm down having coffee with a colleague, and I borrowed a cigarette off of her, and I smoked that cigarette. And when I butted it out, I looked at her and I said, "That is the last cigarette you will ever see me smoke." And she just looked at me, and then I added, "Until the next one." Until the next one. So here's the thing, there was no pressure on me. There was no willpower required. I just decided that this is it for now. For now has now lasted a total of 42 years. Yes, that's how long it's been since I quit smoking. 42 years. Now, what's interesting in that whole story is I never once had a craving. Not once. Not a day in, a week in, an hour in. Never have I had a craving. Sounds like magic, doesn't it? And it's all about how we set our intentions and how we talk about what we're doing and how we move our energy forward without trying to force it. You see, when we try to force things, there's an aspect of us that just rebels and says, I don't think so. And all of a sudden, you go on a diet and you're trying to not eat certain things. And the next thing you know, you're hungry and you're reaching for everything that you can, and you're stuffing yourself with all this stuff that you really shouldn't be having, but you do it anyway. You see, telling ourselves we can't do something doesn't actually work. It actually creates an opportunity for us to do the very thing we're trying to stop doing. So instead of trying to stop it, what we do is we come to a place of integration where we ask a question. And the question could be something like, wow, my body is so healthy. I breathe comfortably and easily, and everything in my life flows so beautifully. I wonder how that happened. So that's an interesting question, right? How did that happen? I'm grateful for it, but how did it happen? Now, the interesting thing about the questions that we ask ourselves is our mind goes to work on fulfilling them. Okay. So we state, how did I get so healthy? And all of a sudden, it's like we're seeing all kinds of things that we're really attracted to. Like all of a sudden, there's an exercise program that looks amazing and we want to do it. There's food we see at the grocery store, like fruits and vegetables, and it's like we just can't get enough of them. And there's a shift that occurs that didn't happen by accident, but actually happened because of us setting in motion this desire, this willingness, and this statement that it was already done, that it was already done. Okay, that truly is the key. It really is the key. I received an email earlier today from Mind Valley that talked about the importance of how we word things when we want to make a change. And he talks about when he found out this idea, and what he did was he told himself, wow, how did I become such an incredible athlete? Like, I'm so strong and so fit. Huh, how did that happen? In asking that question, he set in motion something that allowed him to then manifest the very thing that he was desiring. So the journey that we're on is not about overcoming, it's not about dismissing what's really happening, and it's not even about saying an affirmation that will then cause it to manifest for me, because we all know that we've been saying affirmations forever. We're just saying the wrong ones. We're saying them in a way that really kind of leads to that second thing that pops in going, hey, yeah, right, that's going to happen for you. Have you ever had that? You know, I'm fit and healthy, slim and beautiful. And then your mind pops in and goes, have you looked in the mirror lately? Yeah. So we're changing how we view these things. We're changing how we speak about ourselves. We're changing how we show up in the world so that we can achieve what it is we truly want to achieve. So the art of becoming is about shedding all the stuff that blocks us and stops us, and awakening within us that true essence that we really, really are. Yeah. So I want to share with you three simple principles that can really help in this. And the first one is awareness. So before we can alter or change anything, there has to be some level of awareness. I know what's going on. I know that it's harming me. I know that it's not the best for me. So we have an awareness. And as we sit with the awareness, we start to look at, what we could do instead and that sort of thing. And sometimes when we do that, that's when the judgment jumps in, where all of a sudden you go, oh my gosh, I'm so fat. How will I ever get over this? And we start doing things like that that actually disable us and disable our creativity and our ability to do something absolutely new. So we want to take the time to just sit back and go, okay, enough of that. I'm aware of what it is. Now what? Now what is a great question, but it can be spoken with different inflection. Now what is, okay, something great is coming, something beautiful is happening. Now what? Something bad is coming. So I want this to be uplifting and positive and exciting. Now what? And we move forward with a sense of compassion. We move forward with the idea that I am in the right place doing the right stuff, that my life is absolutely a gift. And I move with that energy and vibration. I move with that sense of moving forward. Rachel, I was just going to say, quitting smoking is actually the easiest thing I ever did. So maybe change your sentence. Quitting smoking is really hard, and change it to quitting smoking is the easiest. Please excuse me, I'm plugging in my computer so it doesn't die on us. Yeah, we want to go, how can I do something different? We start with changing the language. And the first part is quitting smoking is the easiest. And then we go on to, in fact, I am so surprised that I managed to do it and so easily. Wow, this is incredible. So we change the way we word it, the way it shows up. The other thing we want to do is be very compassionate with ourselves. We have a habit of beating ourselves up. You notice that? You're such an idiot. Oh, you're so fat. Like, why do you keep doing that? You're a mistake. all of these things run through our minds, and these things in our belief system are actually creating the life that we're living. And if we want something different, then we must think something different. So we begin to consciously look at what it is we're thinking and doing, and we begin to alter it and change it. So this is where choice comes in. So this is ACC, awareness, compassion, choice. Now we're at choice all the time. All the time we're at choice. So what are we choosing? Are we deciding to go on a diet and then stop at Tim Hortons and buy 10 donuts and justifying why we're getting them? Well, I'm going to go on a diet tomorrow, so I'm just going to enjoy these today. But here's my question to you. When you do something like that, do you actually receive any joy from eating all that, or do you end up feeling sick? Really think about it. Become aware of what happens when you decide to do something. The other thing is when we turn around and decide to go on a diet, quit smoking, whatever, we actually are using willpower to force that into happening. And force doesn't work. Force does not work. It might work for a short time, right? I mean, I've gone on diets, lost weight, felt really good, and then, I could eat this, and I could eat a little bit of that, or, I could just miss my workout today. I mean, it's just once, right? And we start to create that habitual pattern of falling short, where we're not actually doing what it is we said we were going to do. So the key is not to say what we're going to do. The key is to question, wow, how did this happen? So you go from where you are today to that place of what is it that I truly want? Okay, what's my big desire? So for me, it's to be in a healthy, fit body. Okay, if I want a healthy, fit body, what does that look like? And how do I make that happen? Now, I can do treatment and affirmations over and over again, saying, I'm healthy and I'm fit and I'm strong. And I can say that over and over and over again and still show up with, little chubbas around the middle and around here and not being happy with that. Or I can sit back and go, wow, I'm as fit as an athlete, as healthy as can be. How did that happen? And sit in that question. Because what the mind does is it begins to work on the question. So if I'm saying, wow, how did I get so fit and healthy? Huh, that's remarkable. How did that happen? The mind immediately gets to work on making it happen. And so all of a sudden, right things are showing up. The right programs, the right food, everything that we need begins to show up in a way that makes this relatively easy. Now, one of the changes I made early on in this process was I realized, uh, probably shortly after I started taking ministerial classes, I realized that I used the word hard a lot. Well, this is so hard, and that is so hard, and it's hard being a single parent. It's hard having to work and run the household and look after the kids. It's hard to on and on. You get the gist of that, right? Everything was hard. And one day I said, just a minute. My language, the words I use are creating the life that I'm living. Hmm. What do I want to be living instead? And I thought, well, I want things to be easy. So every time I heard myself think or say the word hard, I immediately changed it to easy. Oh, life is so hard. Actually, life is so easy. I just show up and it unfolds like, wow, that's amazing. Um, if I'm looking at, the health of my body, like I am so healthy. Like, how did I get here? This is remarkable. And we begin to tell ourselves new stories in a new way, and we become absolutely the individual we were created to be. Okay. We're not asking you to become somebody else. We're not asking you to change who you are. We're asking you to release what you are not. Yeah. Release what's not you. The masks that you wear and the stories that you kind of, boost a little bit so people hear them and go, wow, that's exciting. As we do all these things, we're basically sending a message to ourselves of, yeah, too bad you're not that good. We're sending negative messaging to ourselves, and we want to switch that, change that, and begin instead to create something that's very positive and uplifting, something exciting and wonderful that takes us into a whole new way of being that allows us to really manifest what it is we say that we would like to create in our life and in our world. So, again, we go back to the ACC: awareness, compassion, and choice. Compassion is how we really need to live day by day, where we look at our lives. Maybe we make a mistake. We're typing something up and, we put something in there the wrong time or the wrong date, and it goes out to everybody. And it's like, oh no, can't believe I did that. But then we stop and go, oh, just a minute, just a minute. Human beings sometimes make mistakes. Everybody does it. If you haven't, please put a note in the comments because, I'm pretty sure everyone at some point in time has made a mistake, what they describe as a mistake. So if that is the truth, what we want to do is remember that I am not defined by the things that I have done right or wrong. I am defined by how I view myself in this now moment. And so when I begin to, do mirror work, for example, I go in the bathroom and I look in the mirror and I say, I love you, Barbara. I really love you, with emphasis and with joy and with excitement. That energy of love begins to really open me up. It cracks something open that allows me then to share that love in the world around me. Not to keep it hidden, but to expose it, to allow that energy to flow out to anyone and everyone in my field of vision. Well, that changes the game completely. You see, when I choose to love me, like really love me, there's a transformation that occurs that is absolutely mind boggling. Absolutely mind boggling. I remember doing this once with one of my clients and done it a little bit differently because they were having challenges with a boss. Now, I've had quite a few clients like this who've had challenges with their boss. And this person came in and said how awful terrible the boss was. And, they really needed to find another job. They had to get out of this situation. It was just so bad, blah, blah, blah. And I sat back and I said, well, here's what I want you to do. I want you to love your boss. And they kind of looked at me like I just sprouted horns or something. Like, what? And I said, no, serious. When you think of your boss, I want you to think kind, compassionate, loving thoughts. Wow, I wish the very best for this person. Wow, they have such skills here. I'd really like to see them make the most of that, and to really think loving thoughts always. And if a negative thought comes in, just go, not now, not necessary, and think something kind, loving. Oh, I love your new suit. And you don't even have to tell them. You just think it for yourself. Tell them if you want, but think it for yourself. So this particular client, I think it was about, I don't know, within a week or so of her doing this particular activity, her boss was transferred out of out of her department into a new office somewhere else. Not, I don't even think it was in the same city, and she got a new boss. And that happened within a week. Like, it was just boom, done. So when we talk about consciousness, I want us to remember that consciousness is the only thing there is. All right? Everything is consciousness. It's the vibration of energy throughout the universe, and it manifests in each and every one of us. and in each and everything. And as such, will bring us to a place of renewed awareness, of greater potential and possibility. It will change our lives, not into something different than who we are, but it will open us up so we can see who we are and begin to celebrate what we see, begin to honor the person that we really are, to have compassion for the journey we've walked when we were asleep, and the joy, the incredible joy of waking up and being in that moment of, yes, now I'm ready. Now I can do this. And then we make choices from that more positive, productive, powerful place. Any of this sound interesting? Any of this sound like something you might want to try? Something you might want to do? See, the journey is really a simple one. I know it feels hard and complicated sometimes, but it really isn't. What makes it hard and complicated is myself, because I will look at whatever's going on and I will make things up about how it won't work or it can't work, or that's, kind of Pollyanna thinking, or no, that's, yeah, you're out of your mind, that's never going to happen. And we start to tell ourselves these stories. We want to interrupt those. We want to interrupt those stories when they come up and go, well, let's just try it. Let's just try it. Let's see if it works. So when I first got into this teaching and was told that, yeah, we can heal things, cancer, AIDS, poverty, we can heal all kinds of things. And I thought, well, that's great in theory, but how do we make that happen in our day to day experience? And what came from that was doing spiritual mind treatment. Treatment is a powerful affirmative force that allows us to really articulate where it is we want to go and how it is we want to get there. And it really does make a huge difference. And I will share one with you today so you have an idea of what they look like. So, there are some questions that we need to ask ourselves. And as we ask these questions and as we come to an understanding, it really does help us to see where it is we're headed, because maybe that's not where we want to go. So we want to just pay attention. So here's some questions you could ask. What is life inviting you to release? Hmm. What is life inviting you to release? Okay, I can sit with that. What might joy already be present? Or where, excuse me, where might joy already be present? Hmm. Maybe it's in our children or our pets, or, the neighbors, or where is it already? Because it's somewhere. How about this one? What would self trust look like here? Hmm. What would self trust look like here? Yeah. You see, we're on this remarkable journey, and it's up to each one of us to decide what that journey will be like. We get to choose the path that we walk. And because we've chosen a path, that path is going to take us somewhere. And it may just bump us into our own resistance. It likely will, actually. Not maybe, but probably. So when we hit that resistance, one of the things many of us do is just keep pushing, not getting anywhere. Push, push, push. And here I am. But what if we change direction slightly? All of a sudden, now we're around the obstacle and we're moving forward once again. So we want to pay attention to those blocks, those stops, because they will help us to understand how we've created the life we're currently living and what it might take to shift into something new. Okay. So, the other question that you might want to ask is, what insight are you taking with you today? What came up in this session that has caused you to go, I'm going to do that? I'm going to do that. And from there, you start to create a whole new way of being. It really is powerful, powerful work. Not easy work, but powerful work. Hi, Wayne. It's been a minute. So, as we look at this journey that we're on, we're going to take a little commercial break now, but when we come back, we're going to explore more of the how. How do we make these shifts? How do we awaken our divine potential? So don't go away. We'll be right back. You're watching The Joy Show on the New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hepperlin Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
Welcome back. So, you're watching The Joy Show here on the New Thought Media Network, and I am delighted, as always, to be here with you. It is truly my joy to create this programming and try to bring in things that could support you or be helpful for you. And that's, for me, that's the most important thing of all, is to find a way to assist you in creating a conscious, creative, authentic way of living in our world. So that's the work that we're doing, and I am so happy to do it. And it's a joy to just come here each week and share these ideas. I wanted to um, share with you something that I received today from Mind Valley. Mind Valley offers all kinds of workshops and speakers and things like that. And so it really does create a great way of listening to some of the best people and learning things that can be really helpful for your life. So he has a method that he calls Lofty, Lofty. So, how to build the questions that actually work, the questions that will take you where you want to go. So, not all questions are created equal. There's an art to building one that lands. And he says he's distilled it into 5 tests. And each question that he writes, he runs through all 5 of these. So I'm just going to share these 5 with you. The first is lifting. Does this question elevate your energy when you ask it? Well, he has 2 for us to compare. Why do I eat a lot of vegetables? Versus, why does my body naturally crave exactly what it needs to thrive? Which one feels better to you? For me, it's that second one. What does my body naturally crave? that is exactly what it needs to thrive. Wow. And here's what he changed it to when he got it right where he wanted it. Why does my body know exactly how to stay healthy and vibrant even when I celebrate? Because sometimes we have birthday parties, we have office parties, we have Christmas and Easter, and who knows what all else. We have all of these events going on. And at these events, there's always food and drink. And so, how do I do this? So, lifting is how do I create a statement, a question that makes me feel uplifted? So, why does my body know exactly how to stay healthy and vibrant, even when I celebrate? We're not telling it not to do anything. We're not giving it an order. We're asking a question. And it's a powerful question. All right, the second letter is O, and that means ownership. So, does your question require you to show up? See, lofty questions are not a couch and manifest strategy. If your question is, why do I sleep so deeply every night? Are you actually giving yourself the condition of deep sleep? You don't need to know how, but you do need to be willing to walk in the direction the question points. Okay? So when you come up a question, it has to be a question that will move you forward. Okay? The next one is F, future focused. Your question is not about where you've been, it's about who you're becoming. So my old internal dialogue was, why do I love sweet things so much? Why is this so hard? A lofty question looks forward. Why do I have the fit, muscular body of an athlete? Wow, that one has energy, doesn't it? Why do I have a fit, muscular body of an athlete? I love that one. I mean, you're talking about it like it didn't have the body yet, but the question described my direction, not my history. Not my history. T is for truthful. Does this question align with your values or someone else's version of who you should be? Ouch. So I see this especially with younger students whose parents want them to become engineers. So they write, why am I such a brilliant engineer? When deep down they want to make films or music. Your subconscious can sense inauthenticity. A question built on someone else's dream will never take root. You got that right? If it's built on what somebody else wants for you, it will never take root. Okay, next. Yes inducing. So as the questions and notice ask the questions and notice what happens in your body. Does it make you want to say yes? Does it create a forward moving energy in your chest? Why am I always surrounded by people who celebrate my success? If that creates even a tinge of excitement, it passes. It passes if it creates a tinge of excitement. And only you know how it's affecting you. So here's some questions you can use across your life to really make a difference. So here's the things that you need to know. Lofty questions only work when they're holistic. You don't want to be transformed in your health, but living in financial stress. Love is a system, and your questions need to cover it. Here are the 5 areas to organize your mind around the questions you can borrow, adopt, or use as springboards to write your own. So the first one is around health and energy. Why do I have unlimited energy and vitality? Why does my body naturally crave exactly what it needs to thrive? Why am I getting younger and more vibrant every year? Those are great questions. So sit with those questions, through the week, read them over and over and integrate them as best you can and go, wow, does that feel true for me? And begin to bring that into manifestation. All right, love and relationships. This isn't just romantic love, it's the quality of connection in your entire life. Why am I always surrounded by love? Why am I always surrounded by love? Well, that sets in motion something really positive and productive. Why do I attract loving, supportive, growth oriented people all my life? Why do I attract loving, supportive, growth oriented people into my life? Why do I do that? Because I'm valuable and creative and intelligent and beautiful, and I am that I am. So we come into that place, into that understanding. Now, don't dress scarcity into lofty question timing. You do. Why do, excuse me, why do I have enough money to pay my bills is still a ceiling question. Okay. Instead, why do I have more money than I need? That's an open question. Why do I have more money than I need? Why do I have avalanches of abundance raining down on me for all my goals, visions, and more? Wow. That's pretty powerful. How about personal growth? So this one kind of feeds all the others, so it's pretty important. Why am I always evolving with such ease and joy? Why does the right knowledge, the right teachers, and the right insights always find me exactly when I need to hear them? Wow. So start with, maybe 5 of these, one from each area, and cycle through them, but start with the 10, and then you can grow it a little bit as you move on. He talks about starting with 5 and then let them grow in my life and in my identity, and it created an evolution in his experience, which was really wonderful. So there's also this meditation that you can do, and you state each question one time. When your mind is relaxed, what neuroscience call the spine brainwave state, your subconscious is dramatically more receptive. This is the same principle behind hypnosis. A hypnotist relaxes you first because that's when suggestions take root. Mm. So do your lofty questions during morning meditation early, and do it in the evening as part of your wind down, or during the day. If you practice it, it's going to become second nature. Say each question once with full feeling. I am absolutely in the right place at the right time, doing all the right stuff. Yay. So say each question once with full feeling. You are not repeating it like a mantra. You're planting a seed and raising it. That non attachment is what makes it work. Hmm. So the second one is about staying curious. Don't try to force an answer. A lofty question is an open loop. And when and then you 5 your life, right? You stay curious about how it might show up, not anxious about when, but not obsessed with how. The how is none of your business. The universe often has a shortcut you haven't imagined yet. So allow yourself to imagine the ease and beauty of this transition and how it happens. 3, use why not what or how. So why do I have the fit muscular body of an athlete, and what do I need to do to get one? What implies a to-do list? How implies the effort you have to put in. Why presupposes it's already true. Your mother's only job is to find out why, since one word makes the universe. So here's my challenge to you. So starting tomorrow morning, write down 5 lofty questions to, for each area. And then on paper or on your phone somewhere, you'll see them. By the first few minutes of quiet, close your eyes, take the deep breath, and let each question state it forever. Feel it in your hands, let it go, then start reflecting all. For the next 30 days, keep a simple log. And in that log, write down every tiny piece of information that your question is coming true. If your question is about health and you order the same instead of the fires of bacon, if your question is about health and you order the salad instead of the fries, bacon on the burger or whatever, you're making a difference, you're making a change. If someone texts you out of nowhere who's connected to an opportunity you've been circling, write it down. A small synchronicity on a day you asked about abundance, write it down. I had a great experience years ago. I was doing a prosperity class in the Calgary Center, and part of the class was we were required to tithe 10% of whatever came in. We had to give to the church. So I wasn't too worried about that because I hadn't received a paycheck in months. I was selling real estate at the time. And with a real estate closing, until the deal is closed and all the monies have been transferred, you don't get paid. You get paid once it's all done. So there was a little bit of lag time. Anyway, I start this class, it's probably week 2 or something, and I get a check for, I don't know, somewhere around $2,500 for one of the sales I did. So I'm thinking, okay, $250 of that has to go to the center. And I was a little bit nervous about it because I'm like, I've got all these bills to pay. I haven't worked in a while. I can't really afford to do this. And I thought, you made a commitment. You need to do this. So what I did was I wrote the check. I drove to the center, which I had just left an hour earlier. I drove back. I went into the bookkeeper's office and gave her the check and said, you might want to deposit this today. Because I knew me. I knew that things would come up. And if I look at the account and there's money in it, I'm going to allow that money to go wherever it's needed in that moment. But the truth is, it was needed, it was necessary, and it was in a place I didn't expect it to be. So live your day, but do it on purpose. So for the next 30 days, you're going to keep that simple log, and in that log, write down every bit of information, evidence that your questions are coming true. If your question is about health and you order the salad instead of the fries, write it down. If someone texts you out of nowhere who's connected to an opportunity you've been circling, write it down. A small synchronicity on a day you asked each abundance, write it down. I know this sounds mostly absurdly simple, but Jose Silva found across decades of graduates of research that when you give genuine, grateful for the tiny synchronization support, rapidly the universe interprets your gratitude as a signal. More of this, please. And guess what? More and more starts coming. So here's what I want you to know: the universe has been waiting. Your entire life, it has been waiting for you to ask the right questions. Host of us, Most of us spend decades asking the wrong ones. Why am I broke? Why can't I find love? Why is this so hard? And the universe, loyal, patient, literally answers exactly what we ask. Every question is a prayer. Every prayer shapes your reality. The only thing standing between you and the life you feel is possible is the quality of the questions you are asking yourself. So start tomorrow asking better ones. Yes, really, really good questions. Um, and I just want to say, if any of this is resonating for you, if any of this feels like, wow, that feels right or true, the only thing standing between you and the life you feel is possible is the quality of the connection you asked yourself. So, starting tomorrow, ask better ones. Ask better questions. The quality of our questions and the connections that we make, all of it is so important. Words have power. Words are the way we communicate concepts and ideas. And the concept we're trying to communicate now is that this blue ball on which we live has within itself the ability to create something brand new. What is that? What does that look like? So we want to pay attention to it. We want to pay attention to all the things that are happening so that we can relax a little bit. Like, what a great thing to be able to relax. Let go of the busyness of the day. Let go of the busyness of having a couple robots here. Let go of the idea that somehow I'm not enough. Look in that mirror over and over again and say, I love you. I really love you. That's what she's crying for, or he's crying for. That's the only thing we ever need, is that feeling that we are loved and appreciated, that we are strong and vital and vibrant. That's what we're learning. That's what we're discovering. So as we, uh, get close to the end of this particular show, I want to ask you, you know, what it is that you do to bring yourself to a place of peacefulness. What is necessary for you to manifest that? Now, it might be part of your treatment work to write about it. It might be something you draw. It might be, well, let's put it this way, it could be absolutely anything. And I just want to say that the more we share these ideas, the more we become aligned fully with who we really are. Not a false image, but who we really are. And we draw that forward, and we draw that into connection, and we draw that to where we need to be. So, regardless of what we're looking for, the universe says yes. Yes. That's the only answer it has for anything. So, what am I asking it? What is it saying yes to? Oh, you're such an idiot. Yes. Might not want that one. I'm a champion. Yes. I am vital, vibrant. Yes. I love this section. I love this idea of having a moment where we get excited about what is possible and we begin to speak in a way that has power, that has possibility, and that has strength to it so that we can begin to manifest what we truly desire. All right. So, in the last couple of minutes of the show, one of the things I like to do is share one thing that I think is super important. If you don't get anything else out of this, this would be the important piece. And for me, it is the power of your thinking. The power of your thinking. You see, the art of becoming requires thought. The art of becoming requires connection. The art of becoming requires us to participate. So, the treatment that we're listening to in a minute is all about those things. So, join with me in consciousness. I relax, I breathe, I open myself up, and I discover something magnificent. I see my strength and my wisdom. I know who I am and where I'm headed. And I am so incredibly grateful for all of it. This journey of life and love. Today is a new day, a new beginning, a new possibility. Make it great. You are the one thinking your thoughts. You are the one saying yes to them or no to them. Stand up for you and be the best version of yourself that you can be. Okay? Today is a new day. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Allow yourself to take some of these ideas and practice them and see if they work for you. Go forward with a sense of deliberate action for the life you actually want. And when you catch yourself slipping, going into old patterns, just remind yourself that you have the ability to create something really, truly remarkable. You are created perfect, whole, and complete, unique, and special like everybody else. Thank you for watching today. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you feel called to, please join us at the Universal Joy Center. Our website is ujoyc.ca. And come on there and join us for a service if you like. We meet Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm so delighted to do this show every week, and I welcome your comments and your questions. And please do show up in the world as your authentic, true self, because you are a gift. And also, subscribe to New Thought Media Network, ntmedia.org. Donate to ensure that this positive, uplifting programming continues. Take the time to check out all the shows, the music, everything that's happening all week, every single week. There's great stuff going on, and you're invited to participate. I love you. I bless you. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.